kick it.
He's kicking it.
Already been kicked.
Welcome to the Hardheaded podcast. Today I'm hosting. My name is Chet Sears. This is Matt Amos and Troy Trussell.
Yeah, right here. 3-shot, baby.
We're having a great time today. And we're going to talk about some fun stuff. Troy's going to tell us what's on his mind. We're going to talk about our top 3 states to visit. And then Matt's going to take us home with a good word. Troy, what's on your mind?
So last year, as we had a shutdown and a lot of stuff go on with COVID and lockdowns and all that stuff, stimulus checks were given out for the first time in ever, maybe. I don't know.
Okay.
First time in my life. And a lot of people didn't necessarily need those stimulus checks. And so I have a few friends that I know took some of that money and invested it in the stock market.
Yeah.
And from what I know about the stock market, which isn't much, it's been very volatile this year and very bullish.
Depends on what you have, but yeah.
Depends on what you have in your investment portfolio. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of been what's on my mind lately is stocks and the stock market. Are you gentlemen investors?
We talk about it every day.
We do talk about it every day because I've got some stocks that I dabbled in. Matter of fact, one of the companies that I use for Admiral's Pennant before they went public sent out an email and said, hey, as a thank you to our customers who have been there since
the beginning,
we want to offer you the first run at shares in our stock when we go public. And so I bought as many as I possibly could. I gave them a lump sum of money, and then they sent about half of it back and said, you can't have that many. And I said, okay. And I didn't think it was that awful many. But apparently enough people signed on. So I bought in at $7 a share.
They kind of limit what you can do at an IPO, initial public offering.
Oh, yes.
So, yes, IPO. Unlike SEO. I'm glad you know the difference.
Yeah.
But
he got that one right.
Yeah, he did get that one right. But when I bought in, I think initially it was $7 a share. And as of last week, they were trading for $253 a share. So
nice.
that's been my best performing stock ever. And then I had a buddy of mine last week talk about a company here in Kansas that is now got a contract to build drones for Amazon. And so I jumped on that as quickly as I could, and it's not performing as well as I thought it was going to.
Just wait. Hold on. Maybe it'll pan out.
Yeah, I mean, that's what Chet says every day. Well, stocks always go up until they go down.
Yep.
So, but no, so I've dabbled quite a bit, and then obviously under this the previous administration, it's the market was phenomenal. I mean, every one of my stocks went up, and I know that a lot of people talk about, it's, the stock market doesn't mean anything for the average person, whatever the market's doing, blah, blah, blah. I was like, well, with all these platforms now that you have out there that you can do your own investing, you don't have to have a firm, you don't pay these outrageous fees, or you're not paying an investment firm to do your work for you. If you can pick those stocks that you think are going to work for you, it's fairly simple to do. And look, I mean, I'm not the smartest guy out there, but I just took a chance and said, hey, I've got this little bit of extra money to play with, put it in there, and it worked out extremely well. So
yeah, I had a similar story, except I didn't invest nearly as much, but had been paying attention to a company that I had heard about from some people that had worked there, and kind of knowing how their industry worked and some things that were lining up in the marketplace. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna see about getting a few of these shares. And I actually have a financial advisor and have a little bit of cash tucked away to.
Ooh,
advisor. A financial advisor.
But anyway, he came to me with this one deal, and I'm like, no, I think we need to go this direction. And then we agreed to just go half what he thought and half what I thought. And
Who won? It's always a competition with you. Who won?
both have been good decisions, but mine was a lot better. But it took 2 years before, after that first year, I'm like, oh man, I shouldn't have done this. And because everything that I was thinking was going to happen, it just didn't materialize until a year after that. And then it's quadrupled. But it's not that much. No, I think it ended up being 10 shares. So it wasn't that big a deal. But yeah. So it's fun. I don't, he and I have talked about it. Matt and I have talked about it that, it's not real money until you sell it. Right. So thinking that it's up or like, it quadrupled. It's not quadrupled until I sell it and actually get that money. Because
it's not quadrupled in your bank.
Yeah. Because tomorrow that can go back down to less than what it was then when I bought it. So there's a little bit of false, I don't know, hope in, this is.
What was the name of that company that, it started with an E? Enron.
Yeah.
So
I had two friends working for Enron when that happened.
So my mom was telling me about a guy that she used to work for, and this was when she was working for him, and he invested. And same thing you're talking about, it's not money in your pocket until it's in your pocket. And I can't remember the millions of dollars that he invested. Or maybe it was $500,000 that he invested in, and it ended up, and within a week's time, it was $4 million. And he's like, well, I'm just going to leave it in there and see how much further it goes up. And then
it's gone.
lost $500,000.
Yeah.
So there's always a risk, but if you play it smart and you don't get greedy
and you diversify and you take it when you can. And
you can, and the average person can easily do it.
Yeah.
All you got to read a little bit about stocks and what you should look for, what you shouldn't look for. The information's readily available.
Yeah. And don't go outside of, what you know. Like you invested in a company that you had done business with, so you kind of knew what they were doing. I invested in a company that had, known people that have worked there and understood, kind of what their model was. If you're just going out there and like Google searching, how do I make a fast money on investing, you're going to get other people's opinions on things that you don't know, and you never know what's going to happen.
Right. And that's just like anything. I mean, you got to put your due diligence in and work at it.
Man, I tell you,
it's not a get rich quick.
No, well,
by any means.
Sometimes it is for some people, but that's the rarity. We had an executive visit our factory one time, and naturally you're not allowed to ask questions about projected stocks. And we had an idiot that was working with us that did, like, flat out say, hey, do you think our stock price is going to go any lower? And he's like, I can't tell you. And this is back in the 2008 bubble crash, real estate bubble. And he's like, I can't talk about that kind of stuff. He's like, no, really? I mean, what do you think? And he's like, is it zero? Because every stock can be worth zero. That's as low as it can go. Right. It's not, to have that reality of, this can be worth nothing. And it could be an Enron type situation, or it could be an overall market play. But yeah, man.
And I think as long as it's not the company, if it's an overall market and the market has a depression in it, eventually that's going to work itself out. Most likely. It always has, with the exception. I think the stock market has only gone down twice under a presidency in its history. Every other president has had the market go up under their watch. This last one was just a little bit more volatile with your peaks.
A lot of gamblers like investing in the stock market. I mean, because you do get a rush if what you think is going to play out happens.
Plays out, yeah.
Yeah. So.
Anyway. It's been on my mind just from that, and that app Robinhood that came out makes it super easy to watch and look at stocks. And I put in like $100 just to play with. I thought about
how you doing?
Paper trading. I'm up 50%.
There you go, man.
Perfect. So
cash out.
I probably should. Hey, $50. All right.
Yeah.
Hey, that's a win.
Hey, it is, but it's been fun. And I thought about paper trading, but it's like not. It's like playing Monopoly.
Right.
I want to play with real money, so I did. But it's just fun. That's what's been on my mind.
All right, Matt. top 3 states to visit
Top 3 states
Fire
to
away.
visit. I'm gonna.
of these United States.
Well, yeah.
Okay, just want to clarify.
I figured that was a given.
Okay, not provinces.
Well, those
States.
are provinces, not states.
Okay.
Well, now I can't go to Rhode Island, apparently.
Oh, the city. Providence.
Providence, Rhode Island.
That's
So-
funny.
Anyway,
That was a good one.
Yeah,
I am going to say
nice dad joke.
that's a good dad joke. I should have a trophy.
Yeah, you don't.
I
do.
I'm going to say number 1, Alaska.
Okay.
And really my 3, they can go in any order. But one of the states that I think everybody should probably visit is Alaska, because it truly is kind of the last frontier.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
It's expansive wilderness, and you have no idea how large it actually is until you're there.
Mhm.
And I've had the opportunity to do some off-road ATV, UTV
Yeah.
trips through, some of the riding up to a glacier and seeing a glacial lake and walking on the melted or the icebergs, I guess,
Yeah.
that are laying in there. It's extremely beautiful, and in the summer it's extremely nice
Yeah.
to be there. I wouldn't want to be there in the winter.
Yeah.
But that one is at the top of my list. Second one, and you're probably going to start seeing a trend here, would be Colorado.
Mhm.
And I would say from a life experience that I guess I'd have to put Colorado at number 1, even though I believe that with some of their government, it has gone downhill.
Different Rocky Mountain High.
Yeah, there's a lot of Troy types running around out there.
Wearing their Birkenstocks everywhere.
Wearing their Birkenstocks and no deodorant.
Yeah, I don't wear deodorant.
But, Colorado, we used to go there growing up as a family. We'd go. And then after we graduated high school, my then friend, who is now my wife, their
Friend, she was friend zoned for a little while.
we were just good friends. And, but she's like, well, we're going to Colorado, and if you want to go. And so I loaded up and went with the family to Colorado, took off work and went up there, and I'm pretty sure that sealed the deal.
You fell in love
Yeah.
twice
So,
with the state and with your wife.
Well, and I guess it just holds special meaning because that's where, she and I, just became more than friends kind of,
Yeah.
and so, and it was in Breckenridge, which, there's always cool stuff to do. Everything was real local.
Yeah.
You could walk everywhere, you go to the rec center and,
Yep.
you hit what was it? Space Monkey or Space Cowboy or whatever that shop was that was down there. I think it's still there. And then going to Bubba Gump's and eating Bubba Gump's, which is
Not there
sadly
anymore.
no longer there. But that place holds a special meaning for me. And when we go there now, I rent or bring my 4-wheeler or UTV, whatever, and we'll ride trails in the backcountry, and that's kind of what I enjoy doing rather than being in town because it's changed a little bit. But love Colorado. I don't love their roads. Their roads are terrible.
Yeah.
As soon as you cross that Kansas state line, you hit that California.
Yep.
Terrible. And then my third, now if you can tell me what the trend is Montana.
Mountainous, wilderness,
yes.
or you can ATV anywhere.
Yep. I don't like. I'm not a city fan. I don't like being in the city. I don't like hanging out in the city. Washington D.C. probably would have made my list just from the history perspective of it, but too many people.
Yeah.
I like to go where there's nobody around, and fortunate enough to have a buddy that has a property up in northwest Montana, not too far from the Canadian border, and nobody around.
Yeah.
And he's got tons of property that you can just go exploring and watch the elk. Just, I went elk hunting there this year and got caught in a blizzard shot my elk. It was 15 degrees below, and my scope froze over before I got the shot off, and so I had to pull another gun out and get the shot off real quick. So, and then the next day it was 45, 50 degrees.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
but it's absolutely beautiful, big country. I guess that's why big sky country. I guess that's why I call it that, because beautiful. Love it.
All right. Troy.
Top 3. All right, I'm going to go number 3. It's going to have to be Florida for the beaches and for the things that you can do at or around the beach.
Mm-hmm.
Should be going crabbing or going fishing. And those are
Yeah, Florida's got like the theme parks and some big time state space program there at Cape Canaveral.
Now, see, one of the other places that I've been fortunate enough to go is down there just outside of Orlando. It's a big ranch just south of there. And I can watch a shuttle launch without having to be around people. So, but Florida still it wouldn't make my list because holy cow, it's humid.
Oh, okay. Well, we're from Louisiana, so
That's true.
I love
feels
it.
like home.
Yeah.
Drink
I
the air.
love the humidity.
Even I don't ever think that it's been so humid that I went to open a cattle gate and it was under these high tension power lines, and
Yep.
I shocked the living crap out of myself just from the moisture in the air. It sucked.
Mm-hmm. A lot of cattle in Florida.
There are a lot of
cattle in Florida.
Speaking of cattle in Florida, who is the largest landowner
In Florida?
in the state of Florida?
Walt Disney? I don't know.
I have no clue.
The Mormon Church.
Really? Okay.
And they run
Cattle.
lots of cattle,
Yeah.
tons of cattle. Yep.
Nah, the more you
And
know.
I didn't know that they owned Pepsi either. I had no idea.
I didn't know that either.
Things you learn.
Well, Pepsi owns KFC and Pizza Hut and Taco Bell.
Yeah. Didn't Pepsi start in Wichita?
No, Pizza Hut did.
Pizza Hut did, but they sold out to Pepsi, I
Yeah.
guess.
They moved their headquarters to Dallas before that.
Very good.
All right, state number 2, man.
State number 2, Colorado. For, the same reasons.
You met your wife there?
No.
Did you meet his wife there?
You fell in love?
No. I fell in love with the nature and the beauty.
Yeah.
The nice, horrible hike that I took up 12,000 feet. But yeah, just unbelievable country. Beautiful trout fishing at its finest on a lake that's in the heavens. I mean, it's just gorgeous.
Now, I will say trout fishing at its finest
Yeah.
is in Alaska.
Well,
Yeah.
I've never
okay.
been there though.
Yeah.
So this is,
But
I got you.
these are states I've
Trout
been
fishing
to.
at Troy's finest.
Perfect. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, before that it was Arkansas.
Right.
So I like to think Arkansas is like a miniature Colorado.
I love Arkansas is pretty awesome, and
Yeah.
the trout are bigger in Arkansas. It's just not the setting.
Right. Yeah. So, and then number 1, I gotta say Louisiana, and specifically New Orleans because of the food and the cuisine. I think there is none finer or better tasting in the world that I have traveled to.
So no, I would tend to agree with you there. I did 18 months on I&I, which is inspector instructor for the Marine Corps. And so I trained, basically was the training NCO for the reservists. So they'd come in there 1 week a month, 2 weeks out of the year. But the rest of the time, there's a full-time staff running that operation to make sure that training was up to date, everything. But I got sent down to learn how to become the command certified AED guy. So if you had a heart attack, I could hook up the AED and shock you back to life.
Awesome.
But the training was down in Louisiana. So I went down because there's a big, that's where Marine Corps Forces Reserve is out of, is down there in Louisiana. And so I went down, and I will say that New Orleans does have some incredible food.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Some of the best.
I'm not a fan of all the people. their roads, because this was not too long after Katrina, their roads were absolutely terrible.
Oh no, it has nothing to do with Katrina.
And I don't know that they've gotten
Yeah.
any better.
No, they haven't.
But
They've gotten worse.
so,
Yeah.
but even on the weekends when I was down there, because I think I was down there for 2 weeks, and I would go out and just go to the swamps and spend time.
Oh
just
yeah.
out away from everybody, but we'd come back and we'd eat as a group or whatever and be there and I think it was Crescent City Brewery. It was one of the places that I don't know if you guys have ever eaten there, but I had their shrimp Creole and
Yep.
it was phenomenal because
Yeah.
that's some of my favorite food. Anything that involves crawdads and
Yeah, crawfish.
yeah.
Crawfish.
Crawdads.
We'll let you.
Crawfish, please.
But one of the things I like about Louisiana is
I said
like
that for your guys' benefit.
Yeah, I know you did.
if you go to you like Kansas, Kansas is just Kansas, right? There you got farmers, you got it's like the same culture. Not that there's anything wrong with having the same culture across the whole state, but if you go to
No.
Louisiana, you're going to get some distinct cultures inside the state. So there's going to be different parts of it. Like even the New Orleans area is different than Southwest Louisiana, which Acadiana. And then I grew up in what they call the Crossroads, which was a little bit of a blend of both the Cajun and the redneck, for lack of a better term. But then North Louisiana is a lot different. But the whole state has good food.
Oh, yeah.
That's one thing I really like. Sweet.
Yep.
So Florida, Colorado.
And Louisiana.
All right. I'm going with, in no particular order, I will say North Carolina. Yeah, I've spent quite a bit of time there. My sister lives there with her family. I actually went on vacation there before that with a buddy of mine from college. We just went camping, did some backpacking and whatnot in the mountains. But then you've got the whole East Coast with the ocean and a lot of stuff in between. You got some big cities, Charlotte area. It's pretty modern and a lot of new technology going on. But then you can get away from that and be in the hills and all kinds of stuff. Good golfing, good hiking, good backpacking. Not necessarily a fan of their barbecue, but
It's done differently.
it's just a great state.
So is that the barbecue that's more vinegar based?
It's more vinegar based, and they put coleslaw on a lot of stuff.
Ooh, love it.
Yeah,
I like I don't like the sweet in my barbecue sauce. I like the more vinegar based barbecues. Yeah.
I'm with you. It's not bad,
Well,
but anyway,
it's really good. That's why it's got its own name, North Carolina barbecue.
okay. It's people
But
to each their own.
now I will say Kansas City barbecue, I'm not a fan of.
I like Texas barbecue more than anything else.
More of a dry rub.
Yeah, I don't like sauces, and you shouldn't.
Well, I don't. Yeah, if your meat can't be good without the sauce, then it shouldn't be considered good barbecue.
Right.
I'm with you.
I agree with that.
But
So
if I have to dip it in something, it's going to be the vinegar.
in a break from your mountainous areas, I'm going with South Dakota. Although there are the Black Hills there, but actually been to South Dakota a couple times. Loved. Kind of the eastern central part of the state. I had an opportunity to go do some pheasant hunting there. It was a blast. Neat. It reminded me a lot of Kansas, other than there were pheasants everywhere. But then you get over on the western half of South Dakota, and you've got the whole Black Hills, the Mount Rushmore deals. We enjoyed that, and the carvings are one thing in the stone, but just the historical aspect of what that whole area is about and why it was created was really neat. Kids really got a lot out of that. Just thoroughly enjoyed it, and did some. We actually did some ATVing in the national forest there too, and came across some old mining towns, and like I wouldn't even call them a town, a camp basically. Where they set up these big canvas tents, and just got everything they could out of it, and then packed up and left, and all their holes were still there. And then New Mexico. And if you think about a state that has a whole heck of a lot, from you've got ski towns up on the northern side, and you've got gorges and mountainous areas and elk, and you go further south, you got Carlsbad Caverns and White Sands, and we spent a summer vacation there, just driving around. Taos, you got culture and history, and just loved it. Had a whole lot of fun. there, and kids enjoyed it, and it was a great state to spend some time in. Always something to do, and like all of us enjoy something to do outside, as opposed to in a city per se.
And I will say for New Mexico, because it's not too far of a drive to get to that border from here. It's probably
About 6
right
hours.
at 6 hours, a drive from here. And I hunted my Rocky Mountain Bighorn sheep in New Mexico.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how quickly that terrain changes on that drive. As soon as you hit that western edge of Oklahoma and you drop down into New Mexico, boom, all of a sudden you have mesas, you have all these different canyons, and it's cool. And there's out there where I hunted, there's actually this little camp that they had set up because it is considered one of the darkest places in the United States for people to stargaze and look at stars, because the mesas surround everything. There's no towns anywhere close.
Yeah.
And I mean, that sky at night just absolutely lights up. It's cool.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Well, anyway, that'd be my top 3 states to visit.
I like it.
Yeah.
I do like New Mexico. I almost put it on there, but I'm more of a mountain fan, and I don't like it real hot. It was hot a couple of times down there.
Yeah, it could get that way, but we're from Louisiana, and heat without humidity's not much. So
I guess, I mean, it's still heat.
Crimea River.
It's still heat. But I will say, when it rains down there, watch out.
Yeah, there's not a lot of soil to
There's nowhere
soak
for it to
everything
go.
up. Yeah,
You can get in trouble real quick.
Wash you away.
When we were there were some wildfires, and I mean, close, and you couldn't even you couldn't walk in parts of the state. You're not allowed to leave the road just because out of fear that you do something stupid and light the whole place on fire. It was all this tinderbox, dry, ready to burn up. Matt,
Yo,
you got a good word for us?
I got your good word, and we are going to go back to the word
Right on.
for today's good word. And the good word for today comes from Deuteronomy 31:6. It says, "Be strong and courageous. Do not be terrified. Do not be afraid or terrified because of them, for the Lord your God goes with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you." So as we kind of found out last year and covered in a previous podcast, I think fear kind of drove a lot of 2020. And so I'm using Deuteronomy 31:6 as my mantra for 21.
That's awesome.
Going forward without fear. And I would challenge others to do the same. You can take whatever precautions that you deem necessary. But ultimately, you've got to live life, and don't live it in fear. Go out and live your life and be happy and be courageous in doing it.
All right.
I like it.
Man, that's awesome.
Good word.
Okay. I think we're ready to shut this thing down.
Booyah. Who's going to read us out?
I'm going to read us out.
All right. I'm going to kick it.
Thank you for listening to Hardheaded.
And be sure to stay tuned for the next episode, because we have
A special
guest talking about some of his undercover work and how to protect your kids in this online age. So you don't want to miss the next episode.
Absolutely. So stay tuned. For those of you who like other states than us, why don't you drop your notes in the comments of our YouTube channel or our Facebook releases or anywhere else you can find us on social media. Thanks for listening. Keep tuning in, subscribe, and hit that like button, ring the bell, or whatever it is for YouTube.
All those things.
Thank you very much. Until next time.
We out.